Hi, everybody. My name is Jessica Maitri. I am so glad to be here with you today. Before I dive into my presentation for you, I want to take a moment to get you in your bodies. And this will be maybe a five to 7 minute embodied practice that's really going to give you a good taste of a little bit about what the presentation will be going over today. So if you have a piece of paper and pen somewhere, you can have that handy for a brief writing exercise after. So just kind of have that handy, but then set everything else aside and then just take a moment to close your eyes with me. So closing the eyes, just take a few deep breaths, breathing all the way into the belly and letting your exhale just fall out your mouth. And continue to breathe in this way, deeply inhaling all the way down into the belly, and then let the exhale be a little bit longer. And each exhale is an invitation to drop more out of the head and into the body. So letting go with each exhale of any logic or any to-do lists, judgment. And let the exhale guide you into your heart. You might begin to notice sensations in your body. You can do a body scan. You could start at the top of your head and each exhale moving your awareness down your body and just noticing those areas that feel like they're asking for some attention right now. And each exhale, just continue moving your awareness down your body and just making note of maybe areas that feel constricted or tight, just anything that is really wanting your attention in this moment. And continuing to move down the body, eventually past the heart and the abdomen, down into the hips, the legs, and the feet. Just eventually reaching wherever that connection point is to the earth. And just feel your connection to the earth. You might even feel this as tingling sensations. And continuing to use the exhale, send a grounding cord. And this could be anything in your mind's eye that represents a connection with your body to the center of the earth. So imagine with your exhale, you're sending a grounding cord all the way down to the center of the earth. Eventually, you see in your mind's eye that it's reached the center of the earth, and you can feel it kind of connecting in. And as you use your inhale now, you can begin to invite any energy or healing light from the center of the earth all the way up the grounding cord into your body. So breathing this light and this healing energy all the way up the grounding cord. And just begin to direct this light to one specific area of your body that was asking for attention. Just choose one area. And each inhale, you direct this healing light towards that one area of the body. And as you inhale and exhale, you keep your attention at this space or this area of the body, and each inhale and exhale really saturates this area of the body with this healing light. And notice how this area of the body is speaking to you. It could be maybe in images. You can notice if there's any images or memories, maybe colors. Notice if there's any smell or taste associated with that area of the body. And just invite the question to this area of the body. What do you want me to know? What do you want me to know right now? And just gather any information from this area of the body. And take one more deep inhale, and with your exhale, just let it go. Just fully letting that experience go. And in a moment, I'll have you open your eyes and just go straight to your journal and pen, or your paper and pen. So when you're ready, open your eyes. Just move straight to your piece of paper and pen. And I want you to just write down any messages, logical or not, that came through your body, that area of the body. So remember, the body may have spoken to you in non-logical ways. So just writing down any colors or senses, smells, tastes, images, or it could be messages for you. Just a couple more minutes here, just finishing up. Just what stood out to you. Okay. I wish we had more time. So go ahead and set that aside. That will make more sense as we go through the presentation today. Excuse me. So in 1 hour, it is extremely difficult to condense the Yothera method, but I'm going to do my best. And I just want you to know that if you have more questions that involve more detail than maybe we have time to get into today, there is a longer handout provided for you in your materials section of this presentation. And I would just invite you to take a look at that. You can also just email me directly or contact me, and I'm happy to answer questions. So let's see here. Let's get this going. Right. Just a second. I think sorry, I'm a little tech. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. So the Yothera method. Again, my name is Jessica Maitre. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I've been in private practice for 10 years, since 2010. And you can find my full bio actually on the platform, but I just wanted to put these credentials specifically because of the audience that I'm speaking with today. But I do have a lot of training in just alternative and holistic modalities as well. I'm a yoga therapist, Reiki certified practitioner, and breathwork practitioner. So I hope that maybe you take a minute to read that. A lot of the Yothera method comes from an array of wonderful trainings that I have taken. So the Yothera method. In the body lies the gold. Let me just take a moment to tell you what Yothera means. Yothera is a word that I trademarked about 3.5 years ago, and it is a combination of the word yoga and therapy. And as you may know, the word yoga simply just means union. It has nothing to do with the poses or what people usually think of. They think of the asanas or the movement or the poses in yoga. But yoga, it simply means union of body, mind, and spirit. So I was wanting to bridge body, mind, and spirit into my clinical therapy practice. And it's been a journey, but that's where the word comes from. And in the body lies the gold is the tagline. And that is, this is very much a bottom-up approach instead of your traditional top-down approach to transformation or to change. So that's what the tagline means. So what led me here? So for me personally, traditional therapy approaches weren't working for me on a variety of levels. They weren't working for me as a client. They weren't working for me as a therapist, and they weren't working for my clients. And I don't mean like 100% like weren't working at all. I mean, they were working, but they weren't giving me the depth of transformation that I personally wanted to see in myself and those that I was serving and working with. And I was feeling like the tools that I had received in school 10 years ago, but also a lot of the trainings that I would go to weren't really taking, like for CEUs, they weren't taking me to the depths of soul transformation and intuition and embodiment, things like that, that I was really looking for. And the people that I was working with for clientele, they, my approaches were working to a point. They were helping change their perspective from a logical standpoint, but they weren't really assisting in the deeper work that I knew that they wanted on a deeper level. So I began searching out other forms of healing and transformation that fit me personally on multiple levels. And this was a process of trusting and following my own intuition, which was interesting because intuition for me didn't make logical sense a lot of times, but it felt like the next step. It felt good to me. It felt like this is what I've been looking for. And also what led me here is numerous colleagues would approach me or they would refer their clients to me. And while that's really great, I started to notice that there really was a gap in what clinicians and professional therapists were looking for, or what they were able to provide their clients. And they were running up against the exact same thing that I had been running up against, which was how do you really, really make lasting change? So I began creating my own modality, which is Yothera, and based on what worked for me. So Yothera method is based on what worked for me personally. And I decided to create a curriculum to teach to others. And this is part of the gap that I was noticing. There was a lot of professional isolation and burnout. There was a lack of recognizing a spiritual shift versus a true diagnosable condition in a client. And until I had personally gone through a true spiritual shift, that I couldn't actually put myself in a diagnosable category, I started to understand on a little bit of a deeper level that there needs to be room for both, and there needs to be people like us that are on the front lines able to understand the difference and also be able to meet the need of both. So only working with the conscious brain, which is also just the logical mind, this is 10%, and we're disconnected oftentimes from our body and intuition in the traditional therapy approaches. Too much time spent in the past. Masculine dominated theories. So what I mean by this is, when I was going through school, Again, this was 10 years ago, but most of what I learned was theories created by men. And that has served us, don't get me wrong. But even just last year, when I was a professor for the Boise State Masters of Social Work program, we were still teaching predominantly male-oriented theories, masculine-oriented. And so there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not balanced. And I felt that there were not only therapists, but clients also that were really craving more of like the body intuition, spiritual approaches that were just left out of therapy. And that to me was part of the gap. So we're trying to fit people into a limited model, and one size does not fit all. So as the client demographic is changing, therapy as a profession must transform to meet these needs. And I feel like now more than ever, our demographic is changing. Not only is it increasing, but therapy as a profession has to transform to meet these needs. So again, what else have you noticed is missing in the gap in what you're able to offer, and just what have you noticed? We don't have to have a discussion about it right now, but that's more of just a question for you internally. So what makes Yothera Method different? So Freud and Jung helped us to understand the importance of the unconscious, but not how to use it to our benefit. So what I mean by that is Freud and Jung were able to assist us in understanding that first of all, there was an unconscious mind and what that looks like dream interpretation, for example. Jung helped us understand the meaning and symbols and why those are important to us that are non-logical. But they didn't really teach us how to become the driver or how to change our unconscious. It was about understanding and identifying what was held in the unconscious and maybe how to interpret it, but not necessarily how to change it. So the Yothera method takes us to the next level by helping individuals use the power of their subconscious for healing and transformation. So wanted to break this down. So what is the unconscious mind? It's the data, it's the programming, it's the hard drive and the operating system. Those are the ways that I like to refer to the unconscious. It makes up 90% of the mind. So it's the under the water part of the iceberg. It's most of it. And then what is intuition? So I wanted to really get clear on here's the difference. Intuition is what comes out of the unconscious mind. Intuition is non-logical, dreams, symbols, feelings, sensations through the body. So the unconscious is the operating system that holds the symbols and the dream, all of it's what kind of interprets it. So since this is a bottom-up approach, the body receives all this information through feelings and sensations and all of this that comes through the body. And as you know, there's a threshold of conscious perception. So you're able to receive all of this input, and then it gets kind of filtered out. And then eventually what rises up to the 10% of the consciousness is only what is meaningful. So that's kind of just a background of this, but intuition is basically what comes out of the unconscious mind. It's our interpretation through the body as the translator. So intuition is also believed to be mixed with spirit or higher self, which is also a lot of times left out of therapy. I know that more and more of you are actually bringing spirit and higher self into the therapeutic process, but it's oftentimes left out or kind of still a little bit tiptoed around. So what makes the Yothera method different still, we're on this topic, it also identifies the client as their own healer. It includes more feminine aspects of healing, and by feminine, what I mean by that is non-logical. So again, nothing wrong with masculine and feminine differences. We need them both, but it needs to be more balanced. And it's fun, it's creative, it's future focused. The Yothera method is both an individual and group journey. So it has support and connection throughout the entire process. And this has been one of the key defining factors of Yothera method. It's not only your own personal journey that you're very much just with you and you, but it's beautiful because you're also in a container of other individuals that are going through a similar process. They may be at different parts of their own journey, but you've got support. You've kind of got your network. You've got your built-in supportive container. The Yothera method teaches people to become the driver of the unconscious through the body for deep and lasting transformation. So it really puts you in the driver's seat. So who is Yothera method for? So before I go any farther onto the list, I want to make a note here that Yothera method is for everyone. The reason I say that is because Yothera method is bringing something so new and able to be translated through the particular professional and their personal gifts and strengths, that somebody might be able to take this and work with kids, or they might be able to work with someone with acute trauma, or someone having a panic attack, or couples even, but in a moment, I want to break down who Yothera method is for on kind of a general basis in regards to this presentation. So Yothera method is for individuals who are committed to interpersonal development. They wish to author their own story. So they are tired of they don't want to be victims anymore. They're ready to be the author of their story. They want to be their own healer. They really believe that that's possible. Maybe traditional therapy hasn't worked for them, or maybe it's just not taking them where they want to go. And they're open to trying a new approach that is involving the mind, body, and intuition. So they're open to it. Yothera method isn't just for people that are open to spirituality. It can be for anyone. You don't have to be spiritual necessarily to receive the benefits of Yothera method. Who is it not for? It's not for people who maybe don't want to go deep. It's a deep process. It's a deep transformational process. You'll notice that Yothera method is, it's branded or coined, if you will, after the science of alchemy. It's like the stages of alchemy. But this is an inner alchemical journey. So they are going to go through deep and lasting change. So people that are willing to go through that. It's not for people that aren't willing to be seen by others, that maybe want more of a private journey. The group itself is not for people that aren't willing to share. I will say that if you're taking a client through it, that's fine. If you go on to become a facilitator of this, of course, it's between you and the client, and that's fine. But this is just in regards to the group part of the Yothera method, which we'll get into in a moment. They do need to be willing to participate at a group level. It's also not for practitioners who only want CEUs. So I have unfortunately run into this. CEUs are great. It's a wonderful win-win situation. However, I don't want people just there to get the CEUs. It's really for people that are there for the transformation, and also it's great to get the CEUs on top of it, and that's who the Yothera method is for. And it's not for people that are just there to be observers. People that want a quick fix or a new tool, this is a full transformational journey. It's not another tool necessarily or quick fix. So what is Yothera? Yothera method is a 3-phase inner alchemical journey that will transform the old material of the mind into the gold that lies within your body. Transforming the lead of the past into the gold of the future. So phase one, so remember it's the 3 phase. So here's the first phase. Phase one is the mind. And this is the breakdown of the participants' subconscious mental programs, defense mechanisms, ego identity, blind spots, all sorts of, cognitive dissonance in order to begin the process of transformation. And so that is the number one thing that this is probably the foundation, is understanding that this needs to be broken down and understanding what's in our way before we just jump right into trying to create something completely new for ourselves. We have to understand where we're in our way. So the only way to get out of the matrix is to understand that you're in the matrix. So it's again, this is still phase one, but this is understanding how the mind works and the unconscious stories and programs that have been running their life. The process includes identifying blind spots, cognitive dissonance, defense mechanisms, and shadow work. We work a lot with the archetypes and the strengths and the light of each archetype. So it's a wonderful way to start the process. It eliminates the shadows hidden in the unconscious to create clarity and opportunity for conscious creation. So if we don't know we're in the matrix, how do we get out of the matrix, right? We're not even conscious of what we're creating until we realize that we have control over it. So that's what I mean by conscious creation. And this is the breaking down of the old self, which is the lead that acts as the fuel in the process of becoming gold. So all of this breaking down is really what's like, okay, we've got our fuel and we're ready to go into phase two. So this frees up the stagnant energy and this moves us into phase two. So phase two, I called embodiment. So I'm sure all of you have heard that lovely word embodiment with an E, and I decided to change it to embodiment because nobody really knows what embodiment is. We use it a lot, but it's like, what is it exactly? And Yothera Method it spells it out. So I call this embodiment because you have to be in your body. This is the rebuilding of a new story by connecting with the heart, body, and intuition. So why the body? Why is this so important? So the subconscious mind is the body and it's driving everything. And this right now, let me just have you remember back to the exercise we did at the very beginning. Your subconscious mind is what was informing you through the language of the body, which is sensation, emotion, color, texture, images, symbols, things like that. That is what was driving, that was what was informing you and giving you messages. And if you want to change your life, do you want to work with just the 10% of the mind, which is cognitive, or the 100%, which is the conscious, 10% plus the 90% of the unconscious? So Yothera works with all of it, 100%. It works with cognitive, logical, conscious, and the 90% unconscious. It works with all of it. The subconscious mind is much wiser than the conscious and logical mind, and it's how we access our intuition as well. So, a lot of people want to tap into their intuition, but they don't. It's kind of like this concept that's like out there. It's like, well, your intuition's somewhere out there, but I don't really know if that's intuition or if that's, something else. So this helps you get really, really clear on connecting with that. And if you want to work with the body and the subconscious, you have to speak its language. Yothera teaches people how to speak the language of deep and lasting change. So here's some of the methods that we use in phase two. So this is techniques of speaking to and influencing the unconscious mind. We use therapeutic breath work, the heart-brain coherence and heart math practices. If you're familiar with heart math, it's pretty powerful stuff. We also, this is one of the most important parts of phase 2 is understanding why heart coherence is so important, because of the electromagnetic field that the heart resonates, and ultimately that frequency that we're sending out can either be consciously created or unconsciously sent out, which is really defining everything in our life. It's that magnetic effect of what comes into our life and what we do with our life and what's available to us. A lot has to do with the heart. And so if your clients are wanting change without this component, it's going to be a lot harder for them. Yoga therapy techniques, which I've learned and would love to continue to share with others. Therapeutic writing. This part of what you did earlier, that brief writing exercise, we go even deeper into that type of work where we're sharing and writing different ways of grounding what's coming through the unconscious mind, which is also intuition. It's a way of grounding it through writing. So toning and speaking exercises, we do a lot of that. That's part of opening the throat energy center of the body and really working with that to heal. That area of the body is often very closed for many people. Meditation and introspection, working with the energy of emotions. Again, that goes back to the heart math, but really getting clear about what emotions can do for us and how maybe they work against us, and just how to work with them in an energetic way that empowers us. Tapping into intuition through play, flow, creativity, and inspiration. So as you already know, healing states of the body are when you're in flow. So, or playing or creative or inspired. When people are in those states, that's when healing can happen. It's not when they're trying really hard and working really hard. And like it oftentimes, like with therapy, with traditional therapy, they're working so hard from the logical mind that it doesn't really allow them to tap into that healing state through, balancing the nervous system and really getting them into some of this other feminine creative tools that we have. So by the end of phase 2, participants have identified the key components of the new story that speaks to their unconscious. It aligns with the language of the body and intuition. So there's no more battle between the conscious and unconscious knowing. Participants understand how to work with the system of the unconscious and their intuition through the body in a more conscious way to create their story, the story that they consciously choose. So that goes back to writing and being the author of your own story from a place of conscious creation, and and breaking down and being aware of the old story and programs that they didn't even know were running in the background. Participants express feeling more self-deterministic, sovereign, and free. And this new story is simply the best parts of who they already are. And I want to be clear about that. Their new story that they come away with is their true essence. It's what's always been there, but has been covered up by all sorts of other crap and lies and programs and distortions of all kinds. And so the new story isn't changing them and like making them into something totally different. It's getting them reconnected to who they already are at their core essence. So phase 3, I call this the elixir. Being seen is love. This part in phase 3 is where we solidify the gold. And as you know, in the science of alchemy, there is at the end, it takes everything and it solidifies it into something new. So this part in phase 3 is seeing ourselves through a more loving and compassionate lens. And this allows more love and compassion for others. So it always starts with seeing ourselves differently and then being able to show up differently for others and more compassionate and loving way, because we've already been able to give that gift to ourselves. It's becoming a clear witness of ourselves and others by sharing of our new stories in a creative way that involves all parts of a person. So not just from cognitive, but it's from all, like, the embodied practices. And this is where people get really creative. It's fun to see what they come up with for their new stories. A lot of people express it in dance or a song, or they write music, or they just write poetry, or just creative writing that involves, all of the senses. There's just a lot of ways that people show up by doing this. And then we witness each other and honor each other in that way. In phase 3, we also work on grounding and anchoring our new story into the participant's life in a tangible way through integration practices. And this is also where it's like we have to be logical with grounding our new story, right? It's like we have all this information come through, but then how do you take it into your life? And I feel like this is a really important part, is the participant being able to integrate it in a meaningful way. And this involves connection with the earth through the science of grounding and understanding our place in the whole and not as separate from the whole. So here's a case study. This is a client, of course, the names have been changed for the case studies, but this is Mindy, and Mindy has mastered the stages of Yothera Method, and she now uses these steps in her life whenever she needs. Mindy regained trust in herself, learned to recognize her intuition, and has confidence in her decisions and speaks her truth openly and authentically. So if you'd like more of a detailed description of Mindy and the case study, all of those details are in the longer handout that you have available to you. And so here's Mindy's testimonial if you'd like to read that. And again, everything is available in the longer handout. So is Yothera Method certification for you? Well, let's look at that. So yes, if you desire to integrate the wisdom, I am in my own way, but the wisdom of your body and intuition into your professional practice. I was covering the words. Yes, if you feel the call to break free of constrictive roles, you're unwilling to settle for anything less than what's really working. And you consider yourself a free thinker and a problem solver. You long to be yourself within a professional context. Desire a balance of mind, body, and spirit. And maybe intuitively you felt like there's more out there, more for you to be doing as far as being of service, but you're not really sure what it looks like yet. So all of what you're seeing right here is exactly how I felt, and before I created this and really started using it in my work with clients. And so if this is you, then we are similar. And I feel like there really are a lot of you out there that have been looking for something different. And that's what Yothera Method is. And again, maybe you wish to work in a professional model that feeds you back. And that's so important right now. How many of you really, like even today, are just feeling completely drained because you're empathic and you feel everything? Or maybe you've had some gifts, some maybe intuitive gifts that have come online for you recently, or other ways that you want to show up and be of service, but it feels like you're working within this really constrictive role as a therapist, and you want to be more than that. You want to bring more to your work and something that feeds you back, because we're burned out and we need something that feels fun for us as well. I like to call these people alchemists. So the first step to becoming a certified Yothera Method practitioner is experiencing it as an individual, so not a professional. So this provides integration of the process on a personal level. I like to say, physician, heal thyself, right? And we can only take others as far as we've gone ourselves. And also, this is how we stay in integrity, and integrity is practicing what we preach. So we need to be able to know what we're asking our clients to go through. So certification is for professionals who wish to take clients through a process of transformation. So here's a few. Obviously, anyone that's here today, a licensed mental health therapist, master's level social work or counseling students. I really wanted to open it up to them, as well as a lot of them are coming out of school and they are not exactly sure what they want to do with the training that they just got. So this is just a wonderful thing, another opportunity that students can use as well. They're certified yoga therapists or yoga teachers, psychologists, life coaches, holistic health coaches, and really individuals in a helping and healing profession. And I felt like this was really important to make it diverse, because what I feel this is leading into is to be part of the integrative medical model of where you've got a doctor and an energy healer in the same office, and it's not this separated, isolated world anymore, that we're coming together and sharing our gifts. And so people can bring their own wisdom from all different backgrounds and join together in this really beautiful way. And the Yothera Method certification program provides CEUs for a variety of practitioners. So not just therapists, there's actually quite a few that aren't even listed here that it gives CEUs for, like teachers and nurses and things like that. So yeah, it's a wonderful way to meet other practitioners that are wanting to really make a change. Last case study, this is a professional case study that I wanted to include. Again, names have been changed, but Cecily built her private practice by mastering the Yothera method. She accepted her intuitive gifts, and her work with clients shifted in a powerful way. And she now attracts clients that she deeply resonates with, making her work enjoyable and one that feeds her on a soul level. So here's her testimonial here if you would like to read it. I have a lot of therapists that want to work with me or go through the Yothera method because they resonate with me, and they're a lot like me, right? We tend to be drawn to people like us, and people that are having a lot of their intuitive gifts come online, and they want to learn how to do that. They want to learn how to work with their own intuitive gifts so that they can understand that better and then be of more assistance. All right, here's the details. So 2021 certification details, the full program, here are the dates for that. Step 1, you take the 10-week group as a person, not a professional, which we just talked about. This does still give you 15 CEUs, and it is a required step in the certification process. And you will personally be guided through the 3-phase process. It begins on Tuesday. It's Tuesdays, January 12th through March 16th. So those are the dates for this step 1, taking the 10-week group as a person. And then step 2 is the 9-month facilitator training. And this is how you learn to take your clients through the process as a practitioner. This has 54 CEUs, and it includes 3 hours of ethics as well. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, step 2, it's designed to teach participants how to guide their own clients through the Yothera method. And during the 9-month facilitator training, participants will practice using the methods along the way with their clients as part of the learning process. So again, this 9-month piece runs April 3rd through December 23rd. And again, there's a detailed breakdown of the dates and topics and everything that you're going to be getting, and just to make sure that that you can make the dates and times work and all of that. That's it all in the longer handout I provided to you. So here's the cost breakdown. So just take a moment to look through this if you'd like. Let me just give you the headlines here. The 10-week group is $1,200. If you just wanted to do the 10-week group and you didn't want to do the full year, let's say you just want to, feel it for yourself. You're just like, okay, what is this all about? I just want to go through it and feel it for myself. I don't necessarily want to learn it yet. That is available to you if you'd like that. That's $1,200. There's a 4-month payment plan available. If you did decide that you wanted to move on to facilitator training after completing that 10-week group, then your cost is $3,000 to add that on. But your best option, of course, is the full program, which is $36.99. It includes the 10-week group plus the 9-month facilitator training. And there is a 12-month payment plan available for that as well. Priority spots and discounts are available for those of you who attended today. So just so you know, this is really awesome. You guys are the first group that gets this. And so after this, I'll be, of course, rolling it out to the public, but I wanted to make a very special discount for you. So you can use this code ICA20 at checkout. Discount is only available for payment in full, just so you know, but again, there are payment plans available. So please connect if you'd like. Feel free to reach out to me personally. I'll be doing a live Zoom Q&A. That date should be changed. Sorry about that. But it's actually going to be Monday, November 16th at 6 p.m. So I need, my apologies for not changing that, but just make a note. I'll be doing a live Zoom Q&A Monday, the 16th at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. The Zoom link will be provided in the newsletter that I'm going to be sending out this next weekend. You can also get that Zoom link directly from me if you would like it. Just email me at hello@yothera.com, or you can sign up for the newsletter on my website. All right. And so at this time, I think we'll go ahead and open it up for some questions if we have time. I think we've got about 10 minutes. So we'll open it up for questions now.